Xenopat is a spin-off from the IDIVELL, the Catalan Institute of Oncology and the University Hospital of Bellvitge, and we offer services based on orthoxenograph. Orthoxenograph are mice models. Actually, they are patient-derived orthotopic xenograph, so mice models in which we implant a small fragment of tumor into its organ of origin. So they are xenograph because they mix the tumor from the human into the mice, and they are orthotopic because they are in the same place, in the same organ of origin. They are much better than subcutaneous xenograph because they reproduce much better drug response and also metastatic capacity. So which kind of services do we offer with these models? The kind of services we offer are two different types, we'll say. One is based on drug development. So these models are perfect for drug development in preclinical phases and also in clinical phases. So are you willing to design a phase 2 clinical assay? Maybe or a small test in our models can tell you which type of tumor, which type of histologic tumor you can choose to get better results, to improve your success. In the other hand, what the service we offer are focused on personalized medicine. So do you have a tumor? Are you going to be treated? Of course, you're always going to receive the first line, but what happens if you relapse? What happens if you're resistant, if you don't respond? So the oncologist is going to face a hard decision and decide which other line is going to offer to you. So what we can do is do an orthoxenograph of yourself and test in this model the possible chemotherapies available for you. So we're always testing drugs that are approved or that are open and accessible in our clinical trials. So what we offer is to test these possibilities in your model and then give to the oncologist. We always work in close proximity to the oncologist because the final decision is theirs, but we allow them to have scientific evidences to choose a specific treatment.
In our bank that we name in also Xenobank, that is also a brand protected from Europe, we have around now in this moment probably 250 different tumors for almost 14 different tumor types, including the more aggressive tumors, that is lung cancer, ovarian cancer, colorectal cancer, pancreatic cancer, breast cancer, sarcoma, some kind of also of liquid tumors that are some leukemias, and also now we are developing another type of tumors that we name childox, that is the same for children, that pediatric tumors.
What's the protocol you follow for each new tumor you receive?
When we have a tumor, the idea is we are in contact with the different, of course, from the clinicians that follow up the patients, and the idea is we send a tube with a medium that we develop. This is protected for Xenopat, that the idea is to protect the tumor just from the moment to pick up the sample, to put the tumor in this medium, and after this moment, until this moment and until we implant it into the mice, we have a window of 24 hours, and during this process, the idea is when we receive the tumor, just from the hospital near of our center, or other hospital from Spain, or other hospital from Europe, the idea is to pick up this tumor and put almost 2 hours in a own medium that we developed, that we named revitalizing tumor media, that the idea is to increase the possibility, this media, increase the possibility to implant it in mice. For this reason, we have probably one of the more high take rate cases in Europe, or probably in other parts of the world, that around for some tumors is approximately 85% of the percentages.
So there is a growing interest in the generation of organoids in the context of regenerative medicine, and also to generate in vitro models to test drugs which are derived from the patient cells. So how will this affect your company, or do you think it's complementary? Or
it's totally complementary, and organoids means is another, in our point of view, scientific point of view, organoids is another step. It's a big step of cell lines. I mean, in the last probably 30 years, we have been working with cell lines, a panel of cell lines that have been using to develop drugs. Okay, one important thing in oncology is the fail of in this process. Okay, probably only 1 of 10 drugs arrive that is in development arrive to the patients. The idea of the organoids means to make another more probably easy system to evaluate drugs, but is an in vitro system. Organoids is we test drugs in a plate, and it's very different to test a drug in a plate that in a plate with 4 legs, that is the mice. I mean, the idea is completely different. We use pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic, different importance, but it's important to make a screening. In our case, we are doing also this, but it's completely complementary. In fact, in our case, we are the idea to connect our system, because orthoxenograph we have to identify that's a system that connects to different chains. The change of the genetic alteration, epigenetic alteration, different genetic omics, different things that happen in a tumor with the other part of the change that is passing response. We need something, because just to know that a tumor has a PI3 kinase mutation or KRAS mutation means nothing probably to associate with response. From this case, we identify orthoxenograph as an element that connects to change. To implement this system is probably is more expensive than to do in vitro. We have to use other systems and the test drugs, and for example the organoids will be an in vitro system to do that, and also probably zebrafish or C. elegans. We need systems that make the process to selection drugs to test in patients more the relationship cost benefits more high. Okay, in base of the scientific law in Spain, we have, when you develop a spin-off and you have and the institutions that in the frame that you generate that, you have the option to maintain 2 hats. Okay, in this moment I am a scientific advisor or scientific director of the company, but also I maintain my own group of research. This is a deal that we arrived with the 3 institutions that they are behind our company, that is IDIBEL, Catalan Institute of Oncology, and Hospital Universitario of de Belvitge. This is important because if we want to perform that the people that is working in academia push companies, we need to facilitate that.
There is a growing number of companies worldwide developing personal-derived xenografts, or at least
PDX.
PDX,
okay.
Yes.
This is some confusion that we have in the field. Okay, in the field we can talk about PDX, that means personal or patient-derived xenograph. I'm also in the board of directors of our consortium in Europe that is named EuroPDX, but the 90% of the tumors that the people is developing now is in the back of the mice. In our case, the approach is completely different. It's to implant it in the same organ of origin. It is very different because it's not the same, in my point of view, and probably from the people that listen to this interview, it's not the same to thinking that, it's very easy to thinking that a tumor that grows in the ovario probably have the same response that we implanted in the ovario that in the back of the mice, probably not. The idea is, in our case, we name, for this reason, we generate a brand, the name orthoxenograph, because the idea is to differentiate orthoxenograph from regular PDX and also from regular avatars. Also, people use avatar when you are doing personal medicine, but in this we have the same problem. In the avatar, the majority of the people is using subcutaneous tumors. In our case, we're using orthotopic, and also a different, for example, of the majority of avatar, we treat the tumor in the mice implanted in the same organ with the same drug that the patient. Normally in the avatar, the people, you implanted the tumor, the patient follow up one line and the tumor another. In our case, it's in parallel. The approach is connected. People also using orthotopic models, and also people also naming como PDOX, personal deriving orthotopic xenograph. But in our case, from different reasons, we decide to position it as an own brand. I don't mind about people can do a lot of PDX, and probably we have the example of companies that have hundreds of tumors. But the problem is not you have quantity, is the quality. This is very important. I think that this is the position, that thing that our company is positioning in this. It's better the quality of the models than the quantity of the models. In fact, we have a huge, probably our Xenopat is the huge bank in Europe about orthotopic models. The idea of use these models in the company we have two important branches. One is to offer these models to different other companies, other pharmaceutical companies that or biotech that are in the process of develop drugs, to use this model in the end of the process when you have to get the decision to go from a clinical phase 1 or phase 2, to use these models to see the effectiveness of the drug. Okay, we need to evaluate in advanced models with the effectiveness of our drugs. And in the second aspect, we use this model to realize personal medicine in real time. I mean, we pick up a sample of a patient, we implanted, for example, in ovarian cancer or the lung cancer, but in ovarian we implanted into the ovarian of the mice. In the patient received, 1 month later, this patient need to receive must to receive the first line of chemotherapy, cisplatin, Taxol, and Avastin. Probably the idea is we treat equally the tumor. When the tumor relapses, the idea is we make genetics, exome sequence, or panel of mutations. We expand this tumor, and in base of these genetics and the clinical assays of the drugs that the oncology have available to treat when this patient relapse, the idea is to check up to evaluate in the mice 6-7 drugs to generate a report to the oncology. But when in the moment of the patient relapse, the idea is to use this information to offer, this is a decision of the oncology, to offer this treatment from the patient. This means it's a personal medicine in real time that integrate all the system.
I would say that it's not a bad place to be, especially in Barcelona. There's a lot of biotechnology, and in Catalonia there's a lot of biotechnology hubs going on, and a lot of effort from the government and from the public centers to allow them to grow, but still it's a lot of work to be done. I mean, we're happy, but we're improving to grow. We're willing to grow, and we need support, and that's something that is hard, and I think that we have to change our mind. So far we don't, or society or government doesn't see as much the return, but we should focus in places like Boston, Canada, where that's they get a lot of revenue from that. Meat gets a lot of revenue. Meat is like another city in Massachusetts. So, and once we realize that what we can take out, not only in knowledge but and in profit for the society, but also in economic point of view, I think that that's the change of mind that we need to do, and hopefully it's gonna be done. There's a lot of people working in biotech in Barcelona, so there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of interest, and there are amazing companies doing amazing jobs. So hopefully that's gonna be noticed somehow. And last year there's been investments, serious investments from investors, not from the political point of view, but from the capital venture, and I think that's starting to be noticed, at least. From a societal point of view, it's hard to realize what is the return. I think Marathon in this sense has done a great job, because not only is showing people that research is done, but it also shows them the return. So they are working hard in showing the return, and I think that's important. We cannot be going to ask for money or budget if we're not showing them what we give back to them. Giving money or supporting a spin-off and startups, it's not only about the knowledge that is generated, the return to the society, but also new workplaces and new benefits and new taxes. I mean, we pay a lot of taxes, so these taxes come back to society, not only our scientific knowledge, which I think is the main point and the main focus, but we give a return in many other aspects. So if Xenopat could offer this service of personalized medicine to all the population, that would be great. That would be a return in health, in satisfaction of the persons attending to the hospitals, and in money, saving money from the chemotherapies that do not work. So I think that it's our work, it's government work, it's scientific work. I mean, scientific doing basic research. They should also be able to communicate their research. And we should try to make society realize that that's important. And also another thing that I want to point out, that's not a short-term reward. I mean, we should really believe in that and make long-term investments. You cannot develop a drug in 6 months. So an investment in 6 months is not going to give you any return. You need a huge investment for a long time. So maybe what we should learn to do is select which projects need to be funded with a sustainable way, and long enough so they give reward to the society.